Are we rolling? Awesome. Live out in Margate, right?
Yeah, I've been exiled to Kent, but I do live by the sea, so I'm sort of living my
Margate's
queer
cool
dream.
now, isn't it?
It is cool now.
Yeah. Folkestone's cool now, isn't it?
It is still Kent. Someone described it to me as the racist garden of England, and I was like, I'm so glad I'm moving there. It's almost like I'm reclaiming and decolonising my palette. I've gone from I grew up with Captain Birdseye. We had so much Captain Birdseye as a kid because my mum was a single parent mum, busy, that I thought at one point he was my grandfather. I'd look at that old white man with a beard and I'd be like, Grandpa. But she was eating a cucumber from the end, like it was a flute. Just on the street, that was her snack, not like a chopped up bits of cucumber, going whole. You know when you see something like that and you're like, I'm not going to forget that because
Well, was she eating it round, rotating it, or
No, it was like she was playing it like a flute. She was eating it from the end, but it was whole. And just
if I was to eat a whole cucumber, I wouldn't hold it like this. I'd hold it like a lollipop. Maybe she was trying not to look like
I think she's self-conscious about that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. 7-year-old, was she aware yet? I don't know. Is that a stand-up?
Oh, I didn't know she was 7.
Oh, she was 7. It wasn't a dick. It wasn't a dick.
No, it wasn't. No. She wasn't filleting the cucumber. But I get fascinated with stuff like that. I've seen a guy at the train station once. He was eating a whole chocolate log, like it was a baguette. Like the whole. He just wrapped open the top, just working his way down.
He's my hero. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know when you see it and it takes you back and you're like, I haven't thought of doing that. But now, that's a great breakfast, a whole chocolate log.
Yeah.
It's the kind of place where it's like, oh, she's so crazy. And you're like, what did she do? She wore a hat,
Yeah.
I was raised in sort of like a town centre flock of goths, the goth flock. Sort of they sit, hanging out, looking sad with their hair over their face.
I've never heard them called the goth flock, and I am on board with this.
I was a lone goth. I was there was no goths in my school, so I was like a goth hawk, just on my own.
Oh, the hawk
Didn't have the flock.
I like that. I would describe Swindon as aggressively heterosexual.
I was raised in a small town in middle America called Greenville, Ohio, where very conservative, and we did have flocks of goths.
Does it have one of those water towers? Because one of my dream jobs, I've got lots of dream jobs I want, and one of them is to be the person who does drone shots of those water towers on murder documentaries.
Very fancy because they served moose in little
Sorry, hold up. I know I made the same mistake. You mean like a chocolate mousse?
Yeah, chocolate
mousse. I was imagining an
No, we're not that.
I was thinking, wow, is this like Toby Carvery but in America, and they just have a mousse?
No, I don't know if people eat chocolate mousse but they put loose meat sandwich shop. So loose meat is
loose meat. That sounds like something I've been called before.
We're being shown a picture of the
Oh my god, is that loose meat? Okay, no, seriously, that is some loose meat. It's like it looks like a burger is trying to escape.
Right. So this is the thing.
The name loose because it just falls everywhere.
Yeah, it's a loose meat sandwich. So it's really sweet, but also it was a brick building, and on the outside of it, everyone stuck their gum. Which so we are talking this sounds, but it was the place, made it was.
Did people get it on the way out? Did they take it back off and put it back in their mouth?
No.
I wonder that I'm completely buzzing off my tits all the time. I think I had everything I ate was neon, pink wafer biscuits. Everything was just not really real. Damn that page.
Yeah, are you post Jamie Oliver generation?
Oh, I don't know. Pre and post Jamie Oliver is quite an intense landmark for time. I don't know if this is an autistic thing, but I love beige, stodgy food.
Yeah, that's an autistic thing. Yeah. I'm going to say it as the ADHD person in the room.
Yeah, stodge like that, like dry sponge was my favourite food. I used to, like a baguette, a French baguette, I'd be told off because I'd been burrowing inside it. I had removed the insides of the French baguette.
So you just play it like a flute.
Like a flute, like the girl in Ken. But I'd feel it like the doughy stuff, and I'd keep it in my cheeks like a little hamster. I just liked dry, starchy shit. I'm celiac, and I've gone through a whole journey where I can't eat wheat or gluten anymore.
Oh, no.
And so now my stodge is like a gluten-free porridge oats, gluten-free cake. I found a couple of places you can get a gluten-free croissant, but it's not the same.
No,
that's like a science thing, isn't it? If you hold the starchy stuff in your mouth, the spit makes it go sweet.
Really?
Bread in
Is
your
that what I
mouth,
love
yeah.
about it?
I think that may be part
It's
of
just
it.
like
Yeah.
the cracked sugar of sweet.
Yeah.
Like, so I had a white mum and a white nana. And so all of the food was really like that. And then I didn't really know much about the other side of my heritage. And then as I've sort of found it and spices and flavours, I'm like a chili addict now. Plain pasta's like the Ed Sheeran of food.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked to.
Hold on, I have to stick up a plain pasta here. It's not the Ed Sheeran.
And we're not the only one, because I did a show recently, and I was talking about poo chat and my poo family, and this woman showed me the Power Poo Girls, and she's in a WhatsApp group. So women are setting up these groups. We've all got like neurodivergence and like quite high stress, but like doing lots of stuff, and IBS. Sort of like, did I eat so much gluten as a kid that I made myself unable to have it? We're all travelling. I was in India, a friend was in Cambodia. Yes, we'd all been dumped. She knows where a toilet is within a 5-mile radius of everywhere, because she has such bad bowel problems.
She can like sense it.
Quite an intense superpower. But it is also like, we've expanded it to like funny memes and just sharing stuff about our lives now. So it's like, the gut really is the second brain and the heart of the body. I like it. But I was in a yoga ashram trying to connect with my roots in India, okay? And I got so sick at one point, I was rocking back and forth. There was 2 of us who nearly didn't finish our yoga teacher training. It was just me and a bunch of white women, basically, in Rishikesh, because we got so ill. And I had dysentery so bad at one point that they said you were singing a song to your parasite.
And driven you mad, and you.
Wait, do you remember this?
Dehydrated, losing my mind in an ashram in Rishikesh. I remember sort of like rocking back and forth in my room, and I was sort of talking about, and then I discovered singing about amoebic dysentery, which turns out a really great metal band. But they were just so zen, and I really want to be zen and chill, but I was raised by a white lady in Swindon who is devout Jehovah's Witness. I'm uptight and anxious. And I was sort of like running around India like Larry David, just stressed and pissed off. Trying to find good coffee and a muffin,
to see this TV show.
And I remember landing in Mumbai, was the first place that I went to, and there's this incredible somatic feeling that happens as a brown girl who's grown up in a predominantly white area, where you open your eyes and you're like, fuck, they told me I was a minority. There's loads of us, and loads of people look like me, and it was just so profound to have that experience later in life. And then I start moving and speaking, and they're like, you are not one of us, neurotic white girl.
Right.
And they can just tell from the way that, like, the moment I open my mouth, I look really Malayali, which is where my family are from in South India, or some of my family. And then as I go to leave India and I'm on the plane, I get handed one of those pieces of paper to fill in the forms for Indian nationals. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not Indian in India, I'm not English in the UK, but I am Indian in the air. My favourite French restaurant is Léon. Have you heard of it? It's at every train station.
Huge,
and you can get a good dinner for about £6 or £7. You can only eat Starburst and Skittles in colour order. And I have to organise them in those orders and eat them like that. When I was growing up, I used to think that I was a character in lots of like films or TV stuff, like over-identifying with characters in books. That's one of the ones. And when you do your autism questionnaire, I think one of my favourite questions was, it's really hard, it's so hard, the assessments, the way they do them, is like, do you now, have you ever, or do you always speak in movie quotes? And I just put, nobody puts baby in the corner. So I just love 80s stuff. But I thought it was Atreyu from The Neverending Story.
Oh,
I thought I was
him.
Like, you're not alone in this. This is a thing.
I would read characters and find them, and it was often was characters of colour or who looked like they could be another race. I think there was something in me longing for that. But with Atreyu, it was real, like, I don't know, there's something about the chairs, the clothes that he was wearing.
I don't even know what Atreyu is. I don't think I've
Oh my God. Oh, please. So he skips school to go into the attic and read a book. And as he's reading the book comes, like, he can see it all. And Atreyu is the person in the book going on a quest.
Oh my God,
Right.
I think he's autistic. I think it's a really autistic story now you say it.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought I could communicate with animals.
Aww.
But I also think that's because we were raised devout Jehovah's Witness. And I don't know if you've seen Jehovah's Witness literature, but my mum had all this literature and stuff around us. And it was like, kids smiling with lions in Everlasting Paradise, just like hugging them and like hanging out with meerkats and stuff. And this is why I got bit by a squirrel, a swan, and a goat.
Because you were trying to
the Holy Trinity of animals. Yeah, trying to connect with them. I thought like, oh, nature's benevolent. It's not benevolent.
It will bite you.
It will bite you and will say, leave me alone. So I think I did my first jokes at Bible study with the Jehovah's Witness stuff. What I used to do is I used to take advertising slogans, and there was a food one actually. There was a Snickers one that I put on an image connected to leprosy.
What was it there's a hunger inside you? And you put...
Something like hungry, why wait?
Hungry, why wait? Yeah, okay, cool.
There was this one of like the 144,000 who were going to be saved. They're sort of like walking off into the light, and then everyone's being burnt to a crisp around them. And then I just put, maybe she's born with it. Maybe she'll burn in hell. So there's like all these weird stuff going on about queer people and this backlash that's coming back, isn't it, about that stuff. So I think that's bringing back those early jokes that we grew up with, which I thought were going to die out, of like, you know, gay being a joke and stuff like that, because we have so many queers on TV and in mainstream media now, but we're still sort of, it's not fully moving. I just think they're jealous of us. I think we're in this weird phase at the moment.
I love that take on it.
No, I just think we're in this weird phase at the moment where they're pitting us against each other, and we have a lot more similarities than differences. Like, we don't want to die alone. We're horny, some of us anyway, except the asexual ones. You do you. But, like, you know, it doesn't matter the gender, does it? It's like...
So I love that like, that's we're all human beings are the same. For example, we don't want to die alone and we're horny.
Like, you know what? You're not wrong.
I hate to break it to you, but I'm a queer woman supporting my landlord's dreams. Like, I don't even want to hear about your children.
And I hate my wife, or I hate my husband. Like even Joan Rivers,
I hate my kids.
Yeah, who's a gay icon, was doing jokes like that. Like, it's interesting that they're like, nope, this is the right way to be, with one person forever and unhappy about it.
Yeah, it's been the default setting for so long. And I've been doing more reading about it. And, like, if you check out, like, Alok's work, and they're really amazing, like, trans thinker, and some of the literature that they post about stuff is, like, actually the gender binary and heteronormative life was, like, a religious project, right? To keep family in a certain way and to keep control of stuff and have society look a certain way. But there always have been, and there's loads of, like, untold histories of queer and trans people. Like, been around for fucking ages, you know? And also I find it really weird, like all the science and biology arguments and stuff as well, because I'm like, come on, man, your national treasure, David Attenborough, has been telling you how queer nature is for, like, decades. Like, your favourite white guy is literally saying that stuff shapeshifts and changes gender, like, all the time. Yeah. Like, we know that can happen in other living things. Like, why is it so weird in us? Like, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Do you think I think there's an interesting crossover between this stuff and neurodivergence, where, like, I mean, I'm broadly straight, but, like, I think that...
I like how you said broadly.
Yeah. Well, do you know what I mean? As much as anyone is. But, like, But, like, I think, like... But to me, it's, like, I think a lot of those sort of, like... Not saying being straight is a social construct, but, like, a lot of those sort of, you have to live this way and you have to do these things, are, like, social constructs that I think a lot of not all neurotypical people, but a lot of neurotypical people just fit into that. They'd be like, oh, I'm a man, I'll wear those clothes. Or like, oh, I'm a woman, I'll go with that person, because that's men and women, they go together. Like, and I think there's an element of, like, I'm obviously speaking in very, very broad terms here, but neurodivergent thinking that is always, if you're already a bit on the outside of society or outside of social cues and social whatever, where you go, well, actually, everyone's doing, maybe I'll do this thing differently. You know, maybe I like watching this same TV program over and over again, so I'll do that. And maybe I like being, you know, I think they're sort of related in a way.
I think there's something in it, because I've heard that there is a statistic, like, I think when I was researching stuff going down wormholes about trying to find stuff out about my diagnosis and stuff, was like, there's quite a high percentage of us that are queer. There's like a huge overlap, so there must be a reason, and there's something about the way that we're looking at the world already, like things that people think are normal. I've never understood so many things about life that people think are normal, like these milestones that you're supposed to move through, or like why anyone would want to go to a social occasion and speak to people